In your 20s, in your 20s, you might land a decent job doing something relatively standard. But if your daily output is something anyone else can replicate, you are on a ticking clock. By the time you reach 28, a company can hire a 24-year-old to do the exact same work for a lower salary. If your skills are interchangeable, you will be replaced. The root of this vulnerability usually isn't a lack of raw talent. It's the intense pressure to fit into a group. From adolescence onward, we are pushed to adopt the exact same ideas, values, and tastes as everyone else around us to maintain social safety. We process a constant chorus of external demands. Parents pushing for prestigious schools, teachers demanding specific test results, and peers enforcing current trends. They reward a rigid definition of intellectual success. Over time, that noise drowns out the internal voice pulling you toward the subjects you naturally find fascinating. When you ignore your natural inclinations to follow a prescribed track, you lose your sense of self. You arrive in your 30s trying to guess what you actually like, feeling deeply unfulfilled and holding a skill set that millions of other people possess. This drive to blend in is hardwired into the primate brain. Our minds operate by comparing bits of information to understand the physical world, and we inevitably apply that same comparative machinery to each other. If you give one chimpanzee a grape and ignore the chimp right next to them, you will immediately get a hostile reaction. Envy is a deeply ingrained evolutionary feature across primates. We are acutely aware when someone else has something we lack. Decades ago, you only had to process what your immediate neighbors were doing. Today, social media exposes you to the curated successes and incomes of everyone on the planet, running our comparative circuitry into overdrive and manufacturing mass envy. Because we are terrified of standing out or falling behind, we constantly monitor our peers and adjust our behavior to match. We actively sand down our own oddities to avoid judgment, discarding the precise quirks that give us our market value. To break the cycle of constant comparison, you must cut off the feed. You need to intentionally remove yourself from social inputs and step away from the crowd. Society often treats loneliness as a shameful state or a personal failure. However, choosing to be alone is a vital strategic tool for reclaiming your perspective. Without the distraction of other people's opinions, the noise drops. Solitude provides the only environment quiet enough for you to recognize what genuinely interests you, separate from what you have been conditioned to care about. Mastering the ability to be alone lets you uncover the personal eccentricities that make you unique. This intentional isolation is the first step toward becoming impossible to replace. Isolation forces you to confront your own feelings. Without the distraction of a crowd, you can finally admit exactly who you envy and why, turning an ugly emotion into a clear signal. This diagram maps how to process that signal. The default is schadenfreude, pleasure in another's failure. Emulation is a productive alternative, using inferiority as fuel. But the ultimate response is mitfreude, genuine joy for their success. Celebrating others neutralizes envy and raises your potential. This as-if strategy comes from psychologist William James. By deliberately acting as if you are happy for someone's success, the genuine emotion eventually follows. Once you have fortified your core in solitude, you must force yourself to socialize regularly. Treat human interaction like going to the gym. You have to put in the reps to keep your social muscle strong and prevent isolation from turning into stagnation. By balancing these two modes, isolation to define your core and socialization to sharpen your reflexes, you ensure you are positioned to recognize and act on the opportunities that circulate around you every day. Your strongest defense against being replaced is a total embrace of your specific oddities and niche takes. These strange, marginal differences are the raw materials of your value. We are conditioned to think of intelligence as strictly academic. But human intelligence spans multiple domains. Being mechanically minded or possessing high empathetic intelligence provides an equally powerful way to navigate the world. Consider bodily intelligence. A player like Kobe Bryant navigating a basketball court displayed cognition just as complex as computational logic. His physical mastery exists on the same level of genius as the intellectual mastery of Albert Einstein. They represent equal but different factors of power. Identifying your specific domain of intelligence, whether it is mechanical, social, or empathetic, is the key to directing your life's trajectory and making yourself essential. This principle scales to human culture as a whole. Our culture operates like an ecosystem that relies entirely on variety to survive and evolve. If everyone mimicked each other perfectly, culture would stagnate. Absolute conformity resembles a colony of insects moving in mechanical unison, an evolutionary dead end. Your individuality acts like a genetic mutation. By mining your unique traits, you inject necessary new ideas into the habitat, keeping the culture turning and advancing. Look at the figures who hold significant power in business and politics. People like Elon Musk build their influence precisely by being distinct, unreplaceable brands. A consistent, authentic, and unapologetically strange core serves as your only practical defense in a world